Hi guys, just started a bit early by 2 minutes. Just wanted the viewers to come because today is a very special guest. Hi Siddharth, how are you? Hi Manish, thank you. Hi Deep. Hi Richie. Hi Shagun. Hi Amrit. Hi Param, how are you? Hi Puran. This is the best part of the show. I like to say hi to everyone. So I thought let's start 2 minutes early today before we get our guest. Hi Ankush. Hi Chaitanya. Hi Maison. Hi Jatinder. How are you? Hi Haricha. Hi Design Aspire. Hi Pratyush. Hi Nikhil. Hi Ranjit. Hello ma'am, how are you? Madhu Kumar. Hi Angad, how are you buddy? Hi Paritosh. So just waiting for another minute. Hi Mini. Let's get some more people on the board. Then we can have Sonali. So guys, today is a very, very special guest, very close to my heart. She's a design veteran. She's an inspiration to all. And she's none other than Sonali Rastogi from Morphogenesis. So very soon we're going to get her on board. We are all very excited for sure. And I think it'll be a very interesting conversation today. And another minute, I'll get her on the platform. So Sonali is a partner of Morphogenesis, a very, very old firm, which of course we'll talk during our chat show. Hi Priyanka, how are you? So my mom is also here. Hi mom. Okay, so we can check. It's 2 minutes more than. Yes, doing good. CJ is doing very well. Very excited to have. Hi Sonali.
How are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
Good, and thank you for inviting me to join all your guests today.
I think we are very honored to have you because, when I was calling you, I was thinking that you are done with your Zoom calls and webinars and you must be like really fed up of it. But I must tell you that, you really made my day that day. You said out of all, I can't say no to you. And moreover, when I said that it's about motivation, then you said that you would love to be part of this chat show. So I'm really, really thankful to you. Your, can you hear me?
Well, can you
Yeah, your voice is a bit breaking. I don't know about the audience. Yeah,
better?
it's the voice is cracking. So is the audience able to hear you? I don't know if the audience is able to hear Sonali.
Is it better now?
Yeah, now it's perfect. Earlier,
I think the stand I was using was not working.
yeah,
Okay,
now,
let me place it a little bit better.
yeah. So audience, my voice is clear. Let's check with the audience because we have quite good number of audience right now. So is my voice clear to the audience? Better
Somebody
now.
said
Better
better
now.
now.
Now is better. Okay, great.
And is my voice clear? Yeah.
Yeah, you are audible. Perfect. So, Sonali, I was saying that thank you very much for doing this. You really made my day, and it really meant a lot to me when you said that you can't say no to me out of all. So it was really nice. And also when I spoke to you about the motivation part, which was very important, you said that for sure you would love to be part of this. So the whole this journey with CJ is more about not about the negativity what is happening right now or the pandemic issues. I know we are talking a lot about it, but I thought let's start a program where people would love to hear more positive things, the journey and how we all can motivate during this crisis. I would say so once again, thank you for doing this, I would say. So I hope. So Sonali, tell me one thing. This is like a question which I have to ask that about the lockdown, which is now over. Finally, we are all very happy. How one thing which you have been doing, which you not been doing for long years in one lockdown.
So I've been becoming tech savvy in the
That,
lockdown.
that's
And I think what I'm extremely fed up of is what I spent doing 9 hours a day during the whole lockdown, which is Zoom calls or online meetings. For me, it was very exciting. It was like expansion of my sort of technologically disabled mind a little bit. But I think within a week, 10 days for me, it started to become a blur. Like I was thinking, am I having memory lapses? Like I've had this conversation or not had it? Because just being in the same room in front of the same screen, using the same tools and just getting a different meeting, different person, soon took away from me the thing I enjoy most, which is the work culture at my workplace, which is at Morphogenesis.
okay.
I enjoy the human touch. Well, nowadays touch is a bad word, but I enjoy the intellectual contact that comes from a physical presence,
Right.
and I enjoy communication with people. Of course, Zoom is a communication tool, and in the beginning, I thought it's really good because people are being very efficient. They're coming with their slides already, and some things are going efficient. Soon, efficiency turned into a blur. I
Yeah.
mean, so and I'm enjoying most is turning around in my studio here and seeing people. I'm enjoying the sight of a random desktop on which something is going on while I'm passing by. I'm enjoying two people literally snatching the opposite ends of the yellow trace and trying to scrap something on it at the same time. And I'm enjoying that I'm in one conversation and my eye somehow catches the sight of some new sample lying in a corner, and that sets off a thought process. So if we all know, I mean, a lot of people on this chat I know are architects and designers of various sorts, and me being in my design habitat
Yes.
uh, is the thing I miss most, and the
Right.
thing I have come to very quickly dislike immensely is
Right.
Zoom calls.
But Sonali, I must say, it's. I completely agree with you about the memory loss because, I'm also a bit facing that experience sitting at home. I was talking to someone, somebody was asking me about something. So my wife Minnie was there. So I was asking Minnie, what was that thing? And she's like, "Are you serious? You're really having that kind of a thing?" I said, "Yeah," and I'm glad you spoke about it because there are certain, I don't know, things happening. I hope we get out of it very fast. We are allowed to open the showrooms. But I completely agree with what you're telling me. There has been some changes
I
happening.
mean, I won't take away from the fact that there's been some efficiencies. Otherwise, we used to have a lot of random consultant meetings over one fouling pipe on a drawing or something. So my teams have, and other engineering teams have learned to work much more efficiently on certain other aspects. But I think life only on Zoom calls is not something that's going to happen for me very well.
Well, I'm glad coming out of your thing now. It's like at least people should know that this is not the only way. There are much other ways to go about it, I guess. And as you rightly said, the physical human communication is very important because there's been a lot of webinars.
Work culture of a collaborative team cannot, it's just you cannot replicate it. Maybe there'll be another developing culture out of
Yes.
remote working, But work from home, remote working is not just about efficiency or enablement, but there is also a work culture.
Right, right.
There is something called, like, I've always had people tell me for more than 20 years that Morphogenesis has been around, and we run a very open plan studio, as you know, that people come and stand in the reception, and they
Yes,
often tell me that we get a sense of a can-do culture.
yes.
And that's exactly how everyone at Morphogenesis is.
I
Yeah,
have,
sure, I
yeah, yeah,
can do it. Now,
yeah.
now that culture only comes as a collective energy.
Right.
It doesn't happen on a remote Zoom call energy.
Yeah, I agree. Because
Yeah.
these days the biggest, the seminar question right now and for future is that whether the work from home culture will be more accepted or will it be the future or will, but I feel that this is a very good answer which you've given me that this is also very important, which we are missing right now. We might feel after 2, 3 months when we start doing the work from home culture, but I think this will be something which we need to come back and work on it for sure. I think this is very good input which you have given us. But thanks again, Sonali. But coming back to this journey, which a lot of people are excited to know about yours specifically. When I put a post, they were really happy that Sonali is going to talk about a journey because, of course, you're a design veteran. You started much earlier your practice, and also you've been one of the part of the best colleges. So if you can just brief the audience about your schooling, your background about architecture, whether your family was from architecture, your college, your pre-grad, and then when did you start morphogenesis?
So I am a quintessential way that half the architects, even today, you find in architecture schools, are architects' kids. So my father was an architect, my mother's an interior designer,
Okay.
and uh, my mother used to work for cottage industries, and my father had started his practice when I was born, and I was the first child of three. So my father actually homeschooled me till class 2, and homeschooled me meant that home was his office, and I was sitting in between architects the whole day
At the age of 2.
till class 2. I,
Oh, okay.
I, I didn't go to school till class 2. Okay, so for me, it was kind of a inadvertent or planned homeschooling. I don't know. So I kind of grew up in between architects, and very early I remember playing with model trees, and I mean I was actually in the middle of a studio the whole time because my mother used to go out to work and my father's office was at home, and so and I was sketching from a very early age because that's what we all do with our kids, right? We hand them crayons and we hand them paper and
Right.
start before they know
Yeah.
how to write. I was surrounded by, maybe the office was 6 architects or 8 architects, something like that. So all day long I was surrounded by architects. So I can't even remember whether I could speak first or I wanted to be an architect first. Like,
Okay.
so the memory goes back so many little things in my head.
Right.
Oh, it'll come back. So you might see me a bit dark for a minute.
Got it.
So, and then my father was from SPA, and
Okay.
it kind of was just a journey that kind of took its own path. Simply, I followed his path, really. I just needed one to be an architect. There was no other choice in my head. Um, Sometimes I toyed with being a writer, but it was always an additional profession. Um, and then SPA, I met Manit, my partner and husband. And at some point, he had returned from England. He had had his education, schooling in England.
Oh,
And yeah, and then the first time he was living in India was when he was doing his undergrad at SPA. And at some point, we got discussing making life plans. And I, like all good Indians, applied to every Ivy League in America, irrespective of whether they were famous for architecture or not, or not knowing the name of a single particular professor I wanted to go to. And there was no internet telling you those things those days. And then Manit said to me that how can you just study design in any college, however good it is? You have to go to a college famous for design. And I said, and what would that be? He said, in my opinion, we should go to the Architectural Association. I know a lot about it. And sorry, and that's what it should be. And so that's where we applied. And actually, it was the last admission I got. I was waitlisted. I got Columbia, I got UPenn, I got, but this was the last admission I got. And we went to the AA. because we had already accepted other US universities. Manit was to go to Columbia, I was to go to UPenn. And we said, okay, this is only a 12-month master's. Let's do one and we can go on to further studies and enjoy life in America. And 1 year into the program, I got the DRL was just getting started at the AA. And I was like, my God, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. And by then I had also understood the importance of the mentor or your guru in design, and I wanted to work with Jeff Kipnis and Baram Shidell. I was awed by their personalities. I was awed by all the people who would come to the AA. And in those days, Rem Koolhaas, Zaha Hadid,
Yeah.
they were like permanent fixtures at the AA.
Nice.
And Burkle had just joined, and now foreign office architects were young professors who were in their 20s at that time there, but then they won the Yokohama ferry terminal. So some of you might know, it is actually 3 houses in the middle of London. It's
Okay.
no great college building or anything. And so you can imagine the proximity with which
Yeah.
we were there. They weren't like just some professor you couldn't approach. They would be on the next bar stool with you,
Wow.
and that whole environment, my adulation of all these things that I had only seen in the cover of few glossy magazines at SPA. And I was like, I'm not leaving this. This is
Wow.
where I'm. And then the DRL started, which was then called the AAGDG. And it's where a lot of Indian students go even today. I was the first Indian in the program. And meanwhile, Manit was studying what is now called SED, which is Sustainable Environment Design. That time it had a different name. And that's how I think we just narrowed down onto what we like. And so where I had gone for 12 months, I landed up spending 3.5 years at the
Wow.
AA, doing several degrees. And that's it. And then one day we just, late Sri Charles Korea came to do an exhibition. The AA, as you know, has the most prominent architects gallery in it, in all of London, maybe one of the most prominent ones around the world. And in my 3.5 years, I was the only Indian architect whose work was displayed there, even though they used to display a new architect every 10 days. And at that time, what really hit me was the lack of Indian presence
Yeah.
in the global discourse. And I'd again like to remind all the listeners, there was no internet,
Yes.
right? We can, various people at various stages of their profession can find visibility on the internet.
Of course. Of course.
Those days, except for Charles Korea, B.V. Doshi, and Rajabal, there wasn't any Indian sort of visible in a global discourse. And that really got to me.
Wow.
And Manit and I took a call that day that we are going back to India. Okay, why isn't there a country that's been famous to produce the best pieces of architecture? When you Google India, you get all buildings, like whether it's Taj Mahal or Red Fort or some Bauli, Haveli. When anybody Googles India, the pictures that come up are buildings. But
Wow.
that wasn't what was happening then. So we said, why now? Post-independence, why have we brought ourselves to this? And so we decided that we'll be architects, so we'll have architectural practice. That's but obvious. But it has to be a practice with a vision. It has to be about us playing our part, however small, in taking Indian design discourse global. So which is why sometimes people look at us and say, like, why do you travel and lecture everywhere? Why, obviously draining in time and cost and intellectual bandwidth, but financially. But for us to make our mark as Indian architects globally, it has been part of the vision by which Morphogenesis was set up. And so that's how the Morphogenesis story began.
Wow. But I must say, Sonali, that, generally when I do a chat talk, I have to study the firm because it has to be curated. The questions have to be curated. It was a real treat for me to study morphogenesis and how it happened, because you very easily said that, in 1994, you planned to go to London when people used to dream of going to abroad, not even London. It was not a easy cakewalk like, okay, we are going to London. But it was a very well planned, and at that age, thinking about so many things, and thinking of making India proud, being the first Indian. I think it's a big compliment to you. We have to really, we are very proud of you because it's not that easy to plan and think and become first. It's a complete process. Even I would say in today's time also, if you have to plan for your kids, you have to completely plan the process. And as you rightly said, without internet,
And you have the internet, and you have every information on your fingertip.
this is what I'm saying, and I think the big compliments to you. That's the reasons I was telling you that was a real treat for me to study morphogenesis, their background, and how they planned everything, and how you planned and you started morphogenesis. So morphogenesis was started in 1996, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But before I talk about morphogenesis, I would love that you share something about your experience in college, because as it would have become very normal for you to have the best of today's personalities, like Zaha Hadid was part of your college and other architects. But how was the experience? And you think, just for audience to help, do you think that experience was helpful for you to achieve what you have achieved today?
So I'll tell you. Okay, here I suppose we are referring to Architectural Association. Okay.
Yes, college
So
architecture,
yeah.
AA.
So one I'd like to tell you, it was a very contrasting education. SPA was like a classroom format,
Yes.
and Architectural Association was a true Guru Shishya format. Like it was one-on-one. Like you didn't
Okay.
even have a common project with anyone else. Like you had your project and you had your guru. Okay. So it was a very Guru Shishya sort of methodology. So it was extremely important to make that connect where your intellectual growth could take place together with your chosen mentor. Okay. And at the A, you get to choose your mentors. They don't choose you. Okay. Uh, so for me, choosing DRL program was I used to always wonder when it came from my SPA days. I would go to the library, and those were the when I was in the SPA in the late 80s, there was all this deconstruction and various other esoteric sort of words which I would find in one odd glossy magazine in the library, and I would say, yeah, I'm in the top institute in this country. I know how to make plan sections, elevation, but what kind of drawings are these? These look like something else. They look like they don't look like drafting or AutoCAD. They just look like something else. And AutoCAD was also barely there. And so for me, I was very fascinated with what is this language that all these Western foreigners speak that I don't speak. You know,
Oh,
okay,
yes.
why their drawings look like that, which I can't did. It's not a plan, it's not a section.
Right.
And Zara's drawings of the peak in Hong Kong, then she had won awards, were making covers, and it was just looking like some zigzag zooming lines. And I was wondering what the hell is that. And so from and then when I first went to the A, I was introduced to the topic of history and theory of architecture, which is different from the history as it is taught here. Okay, it's completely different. It's more like I landed up studying German and French philosophy, which I didn't understand why am I studying it. They were not architecture books, they were pure philosophy books. And then I couldn't understand why, but I said I have to do it. I have to speak the same language that they do. And we had one of the most esoteric thinkers of our time called Mark Cousins, who used to take these thinking classes. And I said, what is this? What is he talking? He's speaking in English. I'm not understanding two lines. And I'm really good at my language. So it was a debilitating time trying to be, I simply had one thing. I couldn't be left out of a conversation. And clearly the Western world was having a conversation that I was left out of. So my desire came out of a desire to be in their shoes.
Wow. That's
Okay. And
yes.
I'm not ashamed to say that. It wasn't some original thinking like, okay, I'm this cool person. I was like, these are these cool people. In their world, I'm clearly not so cool.
Yes.
So I took from that. And then so I studied history and
Yes.
theory. Became this big, trying to understand what philosophy has to do with architecture, what Derrida has to do, what Foucault has to do, what Heidegger has to do. And these hardcore philosophers is what I read. Then I worked with Jeff Kipnis, who was the hardest taskmaster that anyone can have in this world. And
Really?
he was most of the time implying that I was not good enough and I needed to leave the program. And I was like, just because I'm not as yet there with with how you describe things, is not going to stay like that. And
Right.
I graduated really well, better than my own expectation. But for me, it was just a desire to open the door, see what is in that world. That gave me a way of thinking. All this exposure to philosophy, theorizing. He first came up with this method of drawing, which is today architects call it striation and banding. But I was like, why is he not making rooms? Why is he making stripes? You know, so so just to get into that world, to decode it, I believe, gave me an ability to approach every project, which I still do today, to get it deep into it and decode it in different ways, not just in the way that I already know.
Okay. Wow, that's a great.
And when people say that, why do all morphogenesis, like what is a morphogenesis style? That is one of the reasons Manit and I've stayed away from a style. We decode the project each time and we look at it from first principles in everything right down to architectural language. And that's how the team also gets trained at Morpho.
Right.
So
Because
I think the ability to think in a particular way is what the A gave me.
wow. Sure, what you've given us, I think to all the audience, they would understand this really helped you to be where you are today in your thinking, in your achievements. And also, it's a very interesting input you've given me about decoding because I was also, reading your kind of projects which you were doing. You have been doing all kind of projects, whether it's residential, it's commercial, it's hotels, it's hospitals. So, needless to say, the decoding is the answer of, having that kind of thinking on all the projects at all the time. I think that's the point which you have
Yeah, for us, it's about design thinking. It's not about that I know how to make the right room size and housing. वो तो हो ही जाएगा.
thinking.
वो तो हो ही जाएगा ना.
Yes. So, Sonali, great insight. I think this is very, very interesting. So, going back to morphogenesis now, you've been awarded National Best Employer Award 2018, right? And we all know that morphogenesis has a big team of creative minds, right? In fact, I had the pleasure of being part of your journey from our office, where also the team was very good, and now Panchil also. Uh, you know, this is a big concern. I listen all over the world about team management, but creating a team management with creative minds and achieving what you have, we would like to know what is your strategy, or how have you managed doing it? This is something which I feel is very interesting to know.
So when this firm was started, it could have easily been Sonali and Manit Rastogi, or it could have been Rastogi Architects or something like that. Even my father's firm was by his name.
ऐसे ही
Okay.
नाम पहले ऐसे ही नाम आते थे, to be honest. Yes.
But the idea of calling it morphogenesis was because it was supposed to grow and evolve. That's what that term means. It was supposed to grow and evolve with whoever would be a member of it at that time.
You
Okay.
can
I
about
strong I strongly believe, and not believe, it is the truth, that every single architect who works at Morphogenesis has the same qualifications as me. I mean, when I say same, at least the bachelor's is the same, the master's could be same, could be more, could be a PhD, could be anything. But they have the same elementary education to be called an architect as I do. Okay. They have the same dreams, their own dreams, but they have the dreams, which are the dreams for the future. Okay. Now, if somebody is not respected in the same way as you respect your own dreams, then they can never be part of you. Okay, so the morphogenesis, which is one, the fact that we don't have a recognized style, the fact that we look at everything from first principles, allows for each morphogenesis member to contribute into whatever they are doing in a way that they can own it.
right.
Okay, so that culture then spreads. I mean,
Wow.
when we start new concept design, the team usually comprises of everything starting from an intern to the studio director. There'll be 3, 4, 5 people at different levels, and everybody is working collaboratively. Some ideas come from experience. Some ideas just come from being vacuum ideas. Some ideas come from that you saw it somewhere in college. Some ideas come from research and theory and background.
I know you have
Okay.
said day 8, day 1, day 2, day 3. I was reading till day 8. There is a program, complete program about morphogenesis.
Exactly. That's a joining program. So when you join, you don't work on a project. You
Yeah, I have done
jo-
my homework, Sonali.
join. You join and you think for a
Yes,
while.
that's great. That's really
So
nice.
so that's what I think, and I know that the only way to perpetuate uh, sort of a sense of ownership is everybody gets to live their dream. I
Wow.
I believe that the morphogenesis culture, everybody gets to live their dream.
Wow, that's a great take for the people who are running their organizations. Please involve your team in your dream, make a part of your dream, and they should also respect your dream, and that's how you grow. And I think I also I have a privilege of Sonali working with a lot of your teams who have ventured out and they're doing great, and they have a very big regard for you, which is I told you on the phone also. I think that's the best compliment if your team is venturing out and talking great about the organization they have worked with. But I can share my personal experience with you. They have been very happy. So, great take. Sonali, another question I have, which is very interesting and important question. Your firm is the only firm in WA 100 list of world's largest architectural firm, which is gender neutral, with over 50% women across all levels. Please share your thoughts to the audience about this.
So, I actually sometimes find it surprising that why that's not the case everywhere. Because every time I do interview a new architect, a young architect, I'm told most of the colleges have 60 or 70% women today. When I went to college, we were 10% women.
Yes,
Okay, when I went to college, there were 1% women.
right.
Okay. So now when there are 60-70% women, how come that representation is not proportionate at work? Step one, I don't understand. Okay. So then, yes, maybe there are more women, but then what happens is when their familial responsibilities come into play, they land up having to quit because of other responsibilities. Okay. Uh, Now one could be easy. I mean, morphogenesis gets over 2,400 applicants for the starting L1 job every year. So it would be just easy to keep letting women go and keep getting new men, women, whoever to come in. Okay. But I think one has to recognize that we are designing a world for both genders. Therefore, it's important that the team that designs has a thought process where both genders are there. One. Secondly, I think what happens is that I believe if you support somebody through their difficult times, then they become the most valuable contributors for a lifetime, which is true for any relationship in life. A friend who stands by you in your difficult time becomes your best friend, right? So just because uh, women produce children, then they somehow land up having, somehow in most cases, not all, land up having additional responsibilities over the spouse or at home. Sometimes there are further responsibilities of one's own parents, spousal parents, all sorts of things. So if small changes in policy, the way a firm is run, allows for those, some, not all, but some of those to be shared by the firm, it makes it possible for them to have pride in their education. I mean, I find it hard to believe after how hard I worked at college that how would I ever give this up? You go to college, bachelor's 5 years, then maybe master's another 2, 3. Why would you study for 8, 9 years and then work for 8, 9 and quit? I mean,
Very
most likely, quite often, because architects barely earn anything in the beginning, quite often if you've had an expensive education, not even paid that off. Why would you quit?
very well
So
said.
if you can be helped to not quit, then you're going to come back double quickly. I mean, when we opened up after COVID-19, I was surprised. The women with children, families, in-laws were the first back into work. Some moved into Delhi because they didn't want to do the cross-border thing till it was shut. Moved into Delhi so they could come to work. Okay, moved into their parents' home, moved or something like that. Now, this has come because we are talking from work from home and discovering it now.
Yes.
Morphogenesis has forever allowed women with children to do something as small as 1 day a month work from home.
Wow.
Okay. Essentially, children get fever, children do this, that. You can look after that. We
Right.
allow them to go to school and do report books or whatever it is they need to do, and with flexible time. They can do their time later in the day. So simple things like that. We have a Karwa Chauth party. We celebrate womanhood. So this office, 1 day before Karwa Chauth, has a mehndi wali, chudi wali, chaat wala, everything going on.
Wow.
Okay. So we celebrate womanhood. Like, I have no intention of ever standing personally in a boardroom and pretending to be same as a man. I have no intention. I never have. I will pick up in the middle of the biggest presentation. I will pick up my daughter's call, come what may. And if she needs to know where her notebook is, I'll even say, excuse me, sir, I need a minute. So as long as I can unashamedly be a woman, I can accept everything that I need to do. I think, and I can show the commitment. I'll give you another example.
Yeah.
Once, a very, very senior client of mine, I was presenting and in a boardroom, and my daughter's school bus had got missed, and she kept calling. So I got really flustered. I picked up the phone. I said, sir, I need 3 minutes. I'll step out. I'll make some arrangement. My daughter's stranded. I'll come back in. He said, take your time, as long as you give the same commitment to my project. I
Wow.
said, of Okay, so commitment, a life of commitment is a commitment spread across everything. If we can be unashamedly women, and wear our commitments on our sleeve, then we will be equally committed to everything we do. And as
I
long as we support that, at Morphogenesis, people have no issue discussing, yeah, tuition teacher bata do, मेरी mother-in-law ये कर रही है, कहाँ से खाना order कर लूँ, ये कर लूँ. I mean, these are normal conversations. And they're open conversations between men and women. Karwa Chauth party is like amazing. All the men come in Indian clothes also to our Karwa Chauth party. So as long as you accept life for what it is and support each other through anything. I mean, we have, it'll be just like if there's pregnant women who are traveling to sites 5 months, 6 months pregnant. I don't have to say it. Automatically, some junior teammate will say, shall I just come along with you to Ahmedabad for this meeting? And they'll just go. They will never say, you don't do it because you're 6 months pregnant. We just have a culture that work must happen, whatever it takes. So if it takes to go with a 6 month pregnant woman, so you are sure that she's safe, then you go with them. That's it.
So this is really, really nice. I think the audience has loved what you said. I can see the comments coming in, and it's remarkable. And I feel that you should be getting award every year for this for sure, because you have started something, and with your talk, it shows that you really believe in it. And I feel that if I, not being a part of Morphogenesis as a team, I have started, really taking things so seriously after you. Of course, I believe in what you say, but and the audience too. But then I can imagine the team who's following you. So I think, bravo! It's a great thought process, and I think this thought process will really be very helpful to a lot of people who have different set of minds. But really, we look forward for another award of 2021 for this thing again. 2020, I'm not considering anything now. So it's not a year to consider.
So
So
you'll be surprised. We got the best place to work recently again. And obviously, like, the people who send the feedback, and 50% are women and 50% are men. And we had a very high number of people, like 80 plus, who said it's the best place to work. So obviously the men are also feeling it's the best place to work, right? So when you are kind of a more accepting of who each person is for whatever they are, gender, non-gender, then it just becomes a good place to work, no?
no, we all know, and I think this is a very, very big compliment to the company and you. So, Sonali, great insight again. I'm loving this chat talk because we're getting some amazing insights. But do you agree? I think your firm is synonymous to words like first, longest, largest, tallest. So, I mean, it was so exciting to read all this for the audience. It, from first PVR to the first mall, correct me if I'm wrong, Sonali, on any of the things.
Well, it wasn't the first PVR. First one was done by Manoj Mathur, but yeah, after that, all the PVRs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe our first Cineplex, I think with PVR, I think you designed the first new concept of PVR, if I'm not wrong. So, to the world's largest single office building in Surat, world largest urban art facade, world largest net zero campus, to highest residential twin towers, and there are many more. We would like to know, it's not easy to achieve. It's very easy to hear what I'm saying, but it's not easy to achieve these things. So, what has been your challenge to, keep up on creating these huge infrastructures?
Um, I, at the risk of sounding sort of very blasé about it, I would say pretty much no challenge. Because for scale is not relevant. We have done 800 square feet. Our smallest project has been an 800 square feet shop in Emporio. Uh, and it was probably going on simultaneously as we conceived the Surat Diamond Bowl, which is the world's largest building.
World
Uh,
largest.
yeah. So because each time it's about the process of thinking about it. So how do you think? So you think about, okay, what do you think when you have as many people that enter an airport in a day? You have those many people. I mean, a small airport. Let's say Surat airport would see less footfall across a whole day than this one building will see across 5 minutes in the morning. Okay.
Right.
So you think about the issues. You think about how do you move people, how do
Right.
you move, them, and how do you get them to go from one place to other. This design is for a community. It's not a retail project where you make offices and then you put them out in the market. It's all pre-sold. It's for a single community of diamond merchants. So you understand what their life is about. You understand how they transact. Okay, you understand the way they deal. They don't just deal in offices, but they deal in corridors, they deal in courtyards, they deal everywhere. So simple. But when I'm doing a 800 square feet art gallery at the same time, and my client says I need to display 90 Hussains in here, like I'm like, okay, how do you put 90 Hussains in this size of space? And then you think about, okay, so obviously it has to reconfigure because sometimes you'll put two Husuda, sometimes you'll put 90 Hussain. How? So maybe we have to come across a movable display system.
Right.
So it's always what are you thinking about? It's not about the size. Size just means to make the working drawings, you need a larger team.
Right.
That's all that size means. Okay, what you need to have is clarity of thought that what are the parameters that you would need to think about in this project.
Wow. So
Okay.
you, as a matter of fact, Sonali, you've achieved all the sizes, and you're being very honest, and your design concept is clear that whether it's 800 square feet or the world's largest or tallest or longest, it is not a problem. Am I right? I think that's basically what you mean.
Like
So,
when we started to do tall buildings, I just went online and did some courses in CTBUH. Okay, because I didn't even know the questions to ask my structural engineers. Okay, which could help me. My typical behavior is, okay, can you make the column thinner so that it becomes part of the wall and doesn't pop out in the corner? Now, is that the right thing to ask somebody when you're doing 100 floors or 80 floors, or is it what I'm asking for a 2-floor house? So all I did was, because I had no experience in tall buildings, I went down and did some courses so that I could understand the language of what is asked. What is the type of materials I need to look at when building sway by that much so that the materials don't fall off. Okay. I just equipped myself with the language so that I could think the parameters through with
so,
all the other.
so Sonali, I can add to what you say, if you permit me, that continuous education and learning is the part of the process challenge for doing these kind of infrastructure buildings. I feel that's the only way to go about it. You have to keep learning.
That's true for all of us in the design profession. Now look at how many of us here only will be thinking now how to make a cooler mask and how to make a cooler shield, and so we keep learning, right? That's what makes. I mean, we're not just cool because we dress more cool than wearing a business suit to work. We are cool because we learn.
Yes, but at times, what happens is when you achieve certain things in life, I'm not saying about you or me. I'm generally saying in life, this also happens. So that's the reason why specifically I told you this, that people stop thinking that they need to learn more. But in your case, after all achieving, you are still learning. You're still wanting to talk to your structural guys. You need to learn the basics, which is this is the reason why I think it's a continuous process, and most of the people should follow what you have done. That's my take on the whole thing.
Yeah, I think without learning, life's going to be so boring. It's going to be the same every day.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So Sonali, that's another great take. Uh, one last question before I start a small rapid fire, which I have prepared for you. Very simple questions. Uh, that is going to come later, but very not something very simple about your likings. But before that, you have the Morphogenesis has received 110 awards, 850 publications, 50 million square feet green under construction. What has been your drive to keep it going? Uh,
I really don't know. It's the same as the drive which I made me decide this is what I want to do. I mean, I really find that this is my reason for existence and nothing else. Like I cannot tell you, I heard from so many friends during lockdown, oh, this is lovely. We are learning how to cook. We are spending more time with our families. Sure, I did all of those things. I got dead bored after 1 week you know so for me this is my reason for being. It's just I'm one of those super lucky people is all I can say, where my passion, my vision and my dreams are all aligned. And I think that's the biggest gift that I have, that my I was born with my dreams all aligned. And I just and nothing gives me more happiness than to do this.
wow.
That's
I think I personally feel we are all lucky whoever have their own passion and they can follow their passion, and this is a new interesting thing which you told me about aligning the passion, the creativity and the design together, which makes you feel very good. I think that's nice. So Sonali, some few questions if you allow me to ask. It's like a rapid fire, and you know. So your first question is that how you refresh yourself creatively.
reading.
Really. How would someone get your special attention? It could be anyone.
By saying really interesting things.
Right? So, audience, whoever wants to work with Morphogenesis, this is a great take you can have. If you see across Sonali, say some interesting things, and you will be in her attention program. Okay, what's your biggest pet peeve? It could be Manit also if you want, but I hope listening he will kill me.
So I have a pet peeve of the bad urban design policies in our country, which has also led to the current migrant issue, amongst a thousand other issues. Amongst poverty is one of the reasons, is because there is no urban development roadmap for the whole country. It's my pet peeve.
Wow, very nice. So this is professionally. Anything personal?
I don't actually have a professional and personal, but yeah, my pet peeve is I hate filth. I just get irritated. I have this urge to clean everything all the time.
Wow. Okay, great. Okay. Uh, this quote you must have heard for sure, but for the audience. If you want an easy life, don't be an architect. It's a classic quote by Zaha Hadid. Do you agree to this?
No.
No.
My life is super easy. If you have your vision, passion, and your mission all aligned, what else is there to do in life? So my
Okay,
life is super easy. I was born to do this and I'm doing exactly this. There's no conflict.
great. So if not an architect, then which profession you would have chosen?
There are two which always fascinate me. One is a news anchor and one is an author. I do write, though limited, but in the design world. But the other thing, people who fascinate me, I do, and I don't know why, but are news anchors.
Wow, that's nice. Uh, anything you are afraid of regarding the future?
Well, I have a fear of flying, and nowadays we won't be allowed to fly. So yes, no, I don't know. I don't really think too much about the future. I'm kind of a live in the current kind of person. I don't think too much about the future, and I don't really think. Yeah, I don't think too much about the future.
Great. Okay, last question. Audience, please start pouring in your questions because we're running short of time. And this is my last question with Sonali before we take your questions. Sonali, this is a talent hunt. Okay, so what we are doing is that all we are trying to, whoever is on my, uh, you know, talk, we're going to ask them to do something besides design. So it's like your hidden talent. Like when I was talking to Kolika, so we were getting her to my store for doing bartending, which she's been always talking about doing in New York. So we want to really see how good she is in her. So Rudraksh is going to do photography. Zafar is going to do food testing, because he's a big foodie, although his wife Monica is going to cook. And Saurabh is going to design the event. So if given a choice to you, and this is an event which is happening in my showroom or wherever, what would you do?
Oh God, I don't know really. Uh, Now you got me. I really don't know.
So Kolika
Uh,
Ali has many talents. So for sure, see, started getting.
I, okay, so I have a love for language, so I read, write a lot, but I don't know how I could display a writing talent at your premises. So I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what needs to happen.
This is an evening event where all of them are going to explore their talents, and you can pick up any talent. Maybe you can talk about. Maybe you
I
can
can.
try.
Somebody gave me an idea.
Yeah,
I can MC the event.
yeah. That's Kunal. He's
I
another architect. Yeah,
I get a bit of my news anchor fascination in place,
yeah,
and I can research about what they're all going to do, and I can MC the event.
yeah. I think that's a great idea, and I think that will be good also, because you also want to be a news anchor, and you want to do so. It can be a part of the program. So okay, thank you, Sonali, for all my questions. It's been a great. So we will just take up some questions from the audience, and we're going to ask you so that they can also have. One question which I see is that, do you put mood boards during interior finalization? Or
Yeah.
yes, what's your main focus?
No, mood board is one of the tools. Like it's like you have drawings, you have concept sketches, you have mood boards. Of course, we put mood boards.
Mood board is part of your this
Of
thing.
course.
This is someone which is asking, because you're a reader, that please suggest some good books to read.
So you should read this TED book by Mark Kushner, which gives 100 buildings that changed the world.
Okay.
It's all time favorite. I look at the book like every third month. I relook at the whole book again, and it's a small little book. Once Amazon starts delivery, you can get it on Amazon. It's my all time favorite.
So, great. So, Sonali, I think now we are a bit running of time, but last question we'll take.
Hmm.
Um, Scope of sustainable architecture and doing masters in it, for some people to ask.
I don't even know where to begin. I mean, the only kind of architecture that should go on is sustainable architecture anyway. And I think the world is seeing now what happens when humans tend to cross the boundaries of sustainability. And we have come so close to destroying, um, everything that is, we've done everything that is against sustainability, including cutting off Brazilian forests, or encroaching into all other territories of other kind of living beings, and which is why we get all these viruses that we get it today. So I think the scope of sustainability is as important to you as it is to breathe. So how do you define the scope of breathing? So it's that essential to us to live. And post pandemic, the only thing we can try to do is live in even more sustainable ways.
Yes, completely. So this question I can't ask, because this is from Rudraksh, and he says you are his guru also in the chat. So he says, "Hi, Ali. the the crux for running a large architectural practice."
Fairness and honesty.
Fairness and honesty. Wow. Okay.
Honest to your work, honest to your colleagues, honest to your clients, honest to yourself. And fairness is going back to that everybody has the right to dream, and every dream is equally important.
Wow. So I think we are done, and I personally feel there are a lot of questions, but it will be too much to handle. And so, Sonali, thank you very much. Last words for the younger audience which you feel are very important? Probably they have started their own, or they are started their practice, or they are confused.
Um, I've been asked this question recently, and my answer is that for every, this is my motto in life actually, that for every dark cloud there's a silver lining. So this is the time the world is setting a reset button. So they will be only those will be front. Now it's not like somebody who's 40 years of experience and somebody who has 4 days is going to be very far apart. The one who is 4 days experience can actually think up a new post pandemic idea. This is the time for ideas. This is the time for out of the box thinking. The world is rebooting and there is a paradigm change that is going to take place. And much like it happened when the world went digital and you got 30-year-old millionaires, okay,
Yes.
this is the time for design to design for a post-pandemic world in a way that the world stays post-pandemic. What design has to play some role in it,
Right.
and the one with the ideas is the one who's going to succeed.
So keep innovating, keep thinking, keep working hard, be fair, be honest,
Have, have vision,
have and have fun.
have fun, and be visible.
But thank you very much, Sonali. I think it's been a great talk with you. And needless to say that I have a very high regard for you, and you've always been inspiration icon to all, and especially for me too. And I feel that the kind of comments I'm seeing are fantastic. People have loved your talk. I've been checking some comments, and you will also see. So please keep doing these kind of shows where people really want to listen to you. And besides your pandemic, and those are also important. I think you have been still trapped for your next one tomorrow, I think, if I'm not wrong, with the Ace Tech. I saw that. So Sonali, thank you very much, and hope to see you with your MC act soon. Once we, because I'm serious about this. So if you start
I'm,
preparing,
I'm good with that.
it'll be fun. Thank you, Sonali. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank
Bye, everybody. Thank you for attending.
you. Bye.
Bye.